Actually, would it look better if I... Hi everyone, it's Celeste and welcome to my channel. My channel is all about cosplay. I teach you tutorials on how to make the outfit, how to do the makeup so you could become the character of your dreams. Today's tutorial is actually Battle Bunny Riven from League of Legends. If you guys know, I love League of Legends. I play it almost all the time. Just not right now because there's Animal Crossing. Obviously, it's no longer Easter and I missed Bunny Day this year, but that doesn't mean you can't dress up as a bunny. So, with this tutorial, you'll learn how to make Battle Bunny Riven. I'm actually doing a chroma color because I have a lot of yellow fabric. I can go back and use one of my black bunny suits. So, feel free to change it up and mix it up and play with actual other colors of the costumes. In this tutorial, I actually use a white wig and a pair of fishnet tights and a pair of white high heels. She actually has yellow high heels. I don't have that, and I don't know of anyone who does have that naturally. So if you do have yellow high heels, good on ya. Go ahead and use that. Anyways, if you're new to my channel and you've missed out on a lot of my sewing and cosplay content, make sure to click that red button down below to subscribe to become a member of my sewing pincushion called YouTube. So let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. A while ago, I bought this nice yellow satin for a commission project. Unfortunately, I bought so much of it that I didn't know what to do with it. Luckily for this tutorial, I will be using it for this cosplay. This is a high quality yellow satin. It is very thin. Unfortunately, it doesn't have much stretch, but it does have stretch on the bias, so I will be paying note of that. Yeah, I'm going back to Yaya Han's pattern and I'm going to just make the base shell of it with some lining. I really don't want to have it to be super hardcore. I'm not probably going to use this cosplay too often, so with magic, let's go ahead and skip ahead.
2,000 years later.
So I tried on this bunny suit that I made, and of course this is totally just two pieces. So there's this lining piece and the shell piece, which is the outer material. I ironed it and did everything. I added a zipper. I semi-followed the instructions properly this time. The only downfall is that this material doesn't have any sort of stretch now that it's sewn together this way. And this totally eats at my crotch, which I don't like. So what I'm going to do is actually cut off a little bit and then extend it a little bit more. This way it's going to lay a little bit flatter and then not look like I have a camel's foot between my legs. You don't even see it on her picture here, and it's just like, wait, how did you do that? Oh wait, it's because you're using a brocade, so maybe that's what's going on. I still like the pattern, I'm still using it. I learned that I need to shorten it because my torso is shorter, and I need to extend the crotch. So note to the wise out there who is ever attempting this pattern, again, like the fourth time, make sure you, one, fit it, and if your torso is longer or shorter, you modify it after you make a mock-up, and then make sure your crotch area doesn't eat your vagina. So I added this little piece here as a test, and I have a scrap material. Then I marked out the parts where I need to cut off, and that way it won't be so vagina crotch smash. The downfall is I broke my zipper yet again, but I've actually been able to zip this up 4 times without a problem. It was only the 5th time where I actually added this and had it go up my legs, caused it to be a problem. So let's hope that that doesn't happen again. I'm probably just going to install another zipper on top of it so it just has a little bit more give. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. But okay, so now I'm just going to cut out this entire crotch panel here to the front here. This way it will be one solid piece and not have this line down my lady area. Now using some scrap cardboard, I'm going to draw out the pattern for the carrot on the belt. It's going to look like this elongated shape. Using some scissors, of course, go ahead and cut out your finished shape. Now using orange craft foam, I'm going to trace this pattern out a few times. I was able to fit on 3 pieces and now I'm cutting them out. So what I'm going to do is actually pile it all together like a puzzle piece, sandwiching these bamboo skewers in the middle. So I'm going to use hot glue and put it all together, making sure it becomes one nice carrot. For the little green tail parts, I'm actually going to cut up some scrap pieces of foam, and then I'm going to be painting them green. You've seen me use this green color in my Nezuko video a lot. I'm actually going to make sure that I use the tip of the carrot to help hold down some of the areas so I keep my fingers clean, and then I'm going to paint the tip of the carrot. So on the in-game model, there's this orange line that goes across the carrot, and you can see it here. So now I'm just slowly going to cut off some of these green pieces and position it appropriately around this green bamboo stems. And when I'm happy, I'm going to glue it down. Now I'm pulling out some remnant pleather fabric to make the belt. This is from my Thwompette cosplay. I only need enough to create a belt, so a long strip and a strap to hold the carrot in place. Go ahead and measure around your hips to get the correct measurement you want for your belt. This way it'll sag and not stay too high. Now I'm going to draw a line down the strip so I make sure it's nice and even. This strip is about 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters wide. Go ahead and cut the strip out. So I'm going to bring it to the sewing machine to make the edges nice. I'm folding over about a centimeter in or half an inch in, and making sure that the edges are nice and clean with a single straight stitch. Because I'm lazy, I'm just going to slip this belt over my head to put it on. I'm going to use the hip measurement as a base and use the remainder of the fabric and lap it over itself. I'm going to sew it down very nicely, and then I'm using the carrot later to cover this part. Now that we have the carrot and the base of the belt, we need to make the little strap that holds the carrot in place. So I'm taking a small piece of that pleather material and doing the same thing as the belt. I'm going to cut it off from the main material. I'm going to make sure it fits around the carrot and the belt, and it's okay if it's a little bit wide because we can always cut it down. Clean up the sides by bringing it to the sewing machine. Now go ahead and bring your stuff back out and then reposition it so it's nice. Using a hot glue gun, make sure to add tons of hot glue to the belt and then firmly press down the carrot, making sure it'll stick. Now go ahead and add some hot glue to your belt and slowly add it to the carrot, making sure you don't burn your fingers. Go ahead and wrap it around to the back and then make sure it's pressed again. You don't want any air bubbles in this. Go ahead and add more hot glue to the back part and make sure it's secure. The carrot has a silver piece in the center like a belt buckle. I'll be using a googly eye and painting it silver for this part. Ta-da! Glue this between the foam area and the belt strap. Last thing I need to do is measure out some eyelids. I'm going to be using this nail polish bottle as my spacer, and this way it never changes and it's a constant. I'm going to go ahead and mark it out and then put an eyelet in first. Then I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with the new edge of the eyelet. This way I know that everything is exactly the same spacing and I don't have to worry about grabbing a measuring tape. Okay, so I totally forgot, but I needed to make a bunny tail. So I'm using this leftover white fur. I'm going to sew it into a tube and then cut off the edge. I'm going to flip it inside out in a second here, but I'm going to use the remainder of this sleeve so I can stuff it and make it nice and puffy without having to compromise its shape. Now I'm going to flip this little tail inside out so the fluffy part is out there. Make sure all the hair is coming out of the fur seams. Then I'm going to shove this sleeve all inside of it. Once it's inside, I'm going to glue it down onto the middle back of the belt. Make sure that your carrot is to the side first, then find the middle back and then glue it down. I'm going to be using E6000 glue here instead of hot glue because I want this to be extra secure. Hot glue is only going to adhere on top, whereas E6000 is going to sink into it and then keep it all together. Go ahead and press this firmly down and then wait for it to dry. So while I still have this little fluff of tube, I'm going to cut it open and just cut off the rest of this sewing part because honestly, I don't really have the time and patience to unpick it all. I realized my flaw here, and it's because I didn't cut it in half. So I'm going to fold it in half and cut it in half. I don't really mind if the hair isn't perfect here and then I cut off some of the fur. It's okay because this is going to become the bunny ears. For my headband base, I'm using this old reindeer headband from H&M. It was actually about $2. So you want to bend the actual reindeer part into a nice base for the ears to stand up. We don't want to totally get rid of the width of it, but we do want to make it smaller and take your time. You don't want these to break and stab your fingers. Now, using a scrap piece of paper, go ahead and trace out a bunny ear shape. You want to make it nice and big so it goes above and around your reindeer antler. Oh my god, it's flipping me off. When you're happy with your design, go ahead and cut it out. Go ahead and cut this out 4 times on that yellow fabric from the beginning when we made our bunny suit. Sew 2 of the pieces together and then sew the other 2 pieces together to make the ears. Off camera, I went ahead and clipped the edges on the inside and then I ironed it down. Now I'm going to slip it on top of the reindeer antlers and sew it down using a needle and thread. This is really easy to do, and you know, I just want you guys to see that I'm not going to go too hardcore with the actual covering of the headband. It's okay if it's a little messy because this is Battle Bunny! I decided to attach the fur. I'm going to be using E6000 glue. So what I'm going to do is open up the E6000 glue the really difficult way using pliers because it was glued shut, sort of, like it was just unbearable. Anyways, I'm going to glue down the fur and then I'm going to slowly press it and make sure it's secure onto the rabbit ear. I'm doing this for both sides. Then I'm going to take some scrap yellow fabric and then wrap it around the headband using that E6000 glue or the sewing needle, making sure that that little ribbon strap stays in place. This way I don't have that really weird tinsel stuff showing and I have a full cosplay ready. So the last thing I need to do is make the wristy cuffs and the collar. So I'm just going to cut it off of a shirt and then I'm going to actually add little details to it. For one of the sleeve cuffies, I'm actually going to create a nice little carrot that goes on it. I'm taking some extra scrap foam, I'm going to fold it in half to make up a little bit of bulk, and then I'm going to use some hot glue to keep it together. I'm going to cut off one side completely, making it into a rectangle, then I'm going to cut and curve the bottom edge, making it into a carrot base. Using some of the scrap painted foam that's green from earlier on this project, I'm going to cut it up into little leafy bits, kind of like a sad Y, and then I'm going to glue that to the new little carrot piece. I'm going to use the hot glue gun and glue it to this little cuff, and then I'm using a pencil to draw 3 lines to make little ridges into the carrot. Riven has some straps on her leg and on her arm, so what I'm going to do is cut out some strips of fabric. I honestly just eyeballed this and used a lot of the scrap areas of my fabric, so I didn't have to cut into a really nice clean cut, so I can use that for other projects. I combined all the strips together to make one long strip for my leg, and then I combined some of the smaller strips into one large strip for my wrist. Before adding these to any parts of the costume, I made sure to serge the edges of my ribbons. Now, of course, you can just buy ribbon if you want. I wanted everything to match, so I just used scrap material, and you know, I'm all about recycling my materials because it costs money, so might as well put it back into the costume anyways. Now with the other cuff, I made sure to paint the button black because it's supposed to be a French cuff, and I'm going to flip it inside out and go ahead and find the middle point. This is where I'm going to sew the wrist ribbon and make sure it stays there so it doesn't move this little cuff. Off camera, I went ahead and made a small black tie from Black Remnants. This is really simple. All I did was cut up 2 rectangles and called it a tie with a safety. And now it's time to reveal the cosplay. To complete this look, I used one white glove, I used fishnets, and I used white high heels with a white wig. You can use a little bit of different colors if you want. I know it's not completely accurate, but I don't have a gray wig, so what else am I going to do? I think white is her original hair color, so it's okay if you want to mix and match a little bit and play with it. I think I look personally better with white hair than gray hair. So there's that. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in a comment down below. If you enjoyed this cosplay, make sure to click that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. Click on any of these new videos if you haven't seen any of my past League of Legends cosplays. And remember to stay inspired, be creative, and I will see you in a future video. Bye!